This is the new DJI RS4 Mini, the latest compact and lightweight gimbal from DJI targeted at content creators and solo professionals, now featuring an intelligent tracking module, automated axis locks, and native vertical shooting. This gimbal has not only surprised me with how versatile it is, but also just how powerful it is. Hey, what is up guys? 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 here, and as you can tell, today we're looking at the DJI RS4 Mini. If you caught my video on the full-size DJI RS4 a few months back, I bought that with my own money and I was really happy with the results I was getting out of that gimbal, and it's been my go-to gimbal for all of my shoots ever since. This time, DJI reached out to me asking if they could sponsor a video comparing the DJI RS4 Mini to the DJI RS4 full-sized gimbal, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna look at all of the new features in this new Mini gimbal, its build quality and design, and compare it to its full-size brother to see if smaller is better. Let's jump right in. Inside the box or the combo kit, you'll find the gimbal itself, the briefcase handle, the tripod feet, the mounting plates, the new intelligent tracker, and the included cables. Overall, looking at the build quality of the DJI RS4 Mini, I was surprised by how premium the design felt. It didn't feel like a budget version at all when compared to the full-size RS4. The combination of materials really works in favor of the gimbal and makes it visually distinct in DJI's gimbal lineup. The design features a familiar touchscreen to access the controls and settings of the gimbal. You'll also find your usual assortment of buttons, switches, and triggers to physically operate the gimbal, and overall it really is just a scaled down version of the full-size RS4. Okay, so the first feature of this new gimbal we have to talk about is going to be the intelligent tracking module. How you use it is you go ahead and just magnetically attach it to the camera just like that, and then you're going to hold out your palm for gesture control. It's going to blink green, and now we're using DJI's active track technology, and the gimbal is able to follow me in a 360-degree motion. So if you're somebody that's a solo content creator, this is going to be killer to create these dynamic moving and tracking A-roll shots. Or if you want to use this more as a BTS camera operator, you can, to add that movement in there and to follow you throughout your scene. And here's the cool thing, it's not just center tracking. I can actually reframe the shot. Let's say I want like way more headroom, right? Let's go ahead and do something like that. Now, as I move around, it's gonna keep that new composition in frame. Maybe I want to be really far on like the right side of the screen, right? I'm gonna do something like that. And now it's gonna keep that composition. I'm gonna be in like this corner of the screen, and we'll just keep it right there. And if I want to make it go back to being centered, just like that, I can. Now I'm back center tracked in the frame. And you can use it for more than just tracking yourself. You can use it as a tracking assistant. All you have to do is point the camera of the intelligent tracking module at your subject, single press the trigger, it's gonna go ahead and lock on and be green, and now, boom, the gimbal is handling the pan tilt action. So this can come in handy in so many situations. For example, let's say you're navigating rough terrain, you're jumping over rocks while you're tracking your subject. Now you can focus on actually moving through that scene while the gimbal handles the pan tilt action. Or maybe you're tracking a subject from in front of them and you're running in front of them. Now the gimbal can handle that action as well. Or let's say you're new to using a gimbal and you're not that confident in your ability to track a subject yet. Now you can let the gimbal focus on all of that pan tilt action while you focus on creating the camera movement. Setting up the gimbal is also really straightforward. Mount the camera to the bottom plate, slide it into the base plate, attach that to the gimbal. Now just balance all three axes, starting with the tilt axis on the horizontal plane, then balance the tilt axis on the vertical plane, double check the horizontal plane again to make sure it's still balanced, otherwise make small tweaks until it is. Next, you'll want to set up the roll axis by adjusting left and right until that's balanced. Finally, you'll want to adjust the pan axis by tilting the gimbal forward 45 degrees and adjusting the arm back and forth until that's balanced as well. Once you're fully balanced, turn on the gimbal, and now you can hit the auto tune button to dial in optimized motor settings, and now you've got a fully balanced gimbal. If you plan on shooting vertical content, you can do that natively as well. All you have to do is unscrew this knob, press it in, and now you can disconnect the carriage. Then you can just turn it sideways and reconnect it back to the gimbal, and your setup is now vertical. All that's left to do is to rebalance the gimbal for the new weight distribution, and you're good to go. I think the next thing that DJI should do with these gimbals is to put in a really strong roll motor. That way you could just like press a button on the gimbal and it can go from horizontal shooting straight to vertical shooting without having to readjust anything at all. I mean, that would be super sick and like kind of really game changing for filming content on the fly. DJI, can we get that to happen? Because that would be really nice. Almost as nice as our next feature, which is actually my favorite feature on these gimbals. Auto locks. When you're ready to shoot with the gimbal, press and hold the power button. It's gonna go ahead and turn it on, unlock all the axes, and it's ready to go. Okay, and now let's say you're done shooting for a bit, you wanna take a break, let the gimbal have a rest, you don't wanna drain the battery, press the power button one time, it's gonna go ahead and lock up right there. Now it's rigid, all the axes are locked. When you're ready to shoot again, tap the power button, it unlocks, and now you're good to go. And then when you're done shooting or you're taking a long break from using the gimbal, if you turn it off by pressing and holding the power button, it folds up just like that. Yes, my dude, auto locks are definitely my favorite feature on all the new DJI gimbals, and not only is it now smaller, but the fact that it can auto lock means that bringing this for client shoots will be nice, but bringing this on vacations and on content trips is gonna be even nicer. The next thing I wanted to know about was the battery life on these gimbals, and I have some good news and some bad news. Bad news is that the battery isn't detachable, meaning you can't swap batteries on a shoot if the battery runs out. But the good news is that a full charge on this gimbal will get you 13 hours of operating time. And for me, that's good enough for 99% of my shooting scenarios. And they've apparently improved the USB-C charging speeds on this because you can now get up to 5 hours of operating time from just 30 minutes of charging. Well, what about payload capacity? Usually smaller gimbals equals less carrying capacity. Well, the DJI RS4 Mini has a payload capacity of 2 kilograms or 4.5 pounds, which at first I was like, I'm not sure if that's enough for what I need. But then I realized that means I can mount a Sony a7S III or ZV-E1 with the new 28-70 f2G master lens and a camera cage and a variable ND with no issue, meaning that this setup can shoot just about 99% of what I throw at it. Alright, so we've talked about what the DJI RS4 Mini can do. Now let's go ahead and compare it to its bigger brother, the DJI RS4. Going down the list, the Mini wins in the weight compartment, weighing in at only 2 pounds compared to 3, but of course it can only hold up to 4.5 pounds, whereas the RS4 can hold up to 6.5 pounds. They both have attachments that allow you to shoot in briefcase mode. The RS4 Mini has 3rd gen native vertical shooting, making it a little bit more updated than the original RS4, but the Mini only has 1 NATO rail, where the RS4 has 2 NATO rails, meaning it can use more accessories. Both of them have the auto lock feature. Both of them feature the latest 4th gen stabilization algorithm, and of course the Mini has a non-detachable battery with a 13-hour battery life, and you can get a full charge in under 2 hours, whereas the RS4 has detachable batteries with a 12-hour battery life, and you can get a full charge in 2.5 hours. These are both genuinely fantastic gimbals, and if you're choosing between the two, you're gonna have to ask yourself a few questions. 1, do you need that extra payload capacity? How heavy is your rig? 2, do you need that detachable battery? Do you need to bring extra batteries with you on shoots? Maybe you don't have access to power. Maybe you need to pack several batteries for a long trip. 3, how much do you plan on customizing your gimbal? Are you cool with just shooting with it like out of the box, handheld, briefcase mode, or do you need to go a bit further? Do you want to get a ring attachment for a bigger platform, or do you want to strip it down so you can mount the gimbal to like a slider or a car rig? Based on your answer to those 3 questions, that'll probably inform you on which one you should probably buy. And real quick, I'd be remiss to do a comparison of these 2 gimbals without showing at least a few side-by-side shots. Alright, let's take a look at pricing. The basic DJI RS4 kit comes in at just $369, which is a staggeringly affordable price for a super capable gimbal. Or if you're interested in having the DJI RS intelligent tracking module, you could get the combo kit for $459, which would also include that. They also have a version of the combo kit which also bundles in their RS4 Mini phone holder as well for $478. If you're interested in checking out the new DJI RS4 Mini, I'll have links in the description down below. So here are my thoughts on the RS4 Mini. Usually I'm not excited for the mini gimbals or the smaller gimbals because they often tend to be afterthoughts where the companies are just trying to fill a specific need in the market, right? Like a cheaper gimbal. So it usually feels cheaper. But the RS4 Mini truly feels like a scaled down version of the RS4, and it has all of the features that you would want from the RS4, including things like the auto lock and extremely good stabilization performance. And in this case, it actually even has a unique feature of being capable of using the intelligent tracking module, which is a super sick, innovative product. All of that combined with the entry price of $369 makes this feel like a really good value proposition for solo content creators and solo videographers who want to add a gimbal into their kit to add that dynamic and smooth motion into their films without breaking the bank. All right, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.